Welcome to the Workamper Show, brought to you by Workamper.com. This podcast helps you discover how to finance your RV travel dreams. Each one of our episodes will introduce you to people who are already living the RV lifestyle or to work camping opportunities all around the U.S. You'll also learn how to hit the road the right way and make the most of every opportunity. Now let's turn over today's show to your host, Greg Gerber.
On this week's episode, we meet a solo female RVer who hit the road full-time in 2019 and hasn't looked back. She offers a lot of advice about the RV lifestyle, how to find great work camping jobs, and even her favorite travel apps. Today's episode is sponsored by Workamper News. Creating a resume can be a cumbersome, intimidating task, especially if you haven't written a resume in many years. The unique Workamper News Resume Builder takes you through a step-by-step process to build a complete resume with all the information Workamper employers are looking for when reviewing applications. Once complete, your resume can be emailed to anyone, and the software tracks when and to whom you've sent it. You can print out the resume or make it into a PDF, which can then be uploaded or emailed. Some employers never advertise, not on Workamper.com or anywhere else. They find all their applicants just by searching the Workamper News resume database. If you don't have a resume in the Workamper.com database, you'll be missing out on some great opportunities. To open the door to more work camping jobs, become a Workamper member today by visiting www.workamper.com. A resident of the San Francisco Bay Area, Kelley Sexton, was concerned about rising housing prices. That's when she discovered RV living offered a far more affordable and flexible lifestyle than her high-priced apartment. With a background as a virtual executive assistant, Kelley embraced the freedom of remote work, enabling her to travel across the country and even into Canada, all while supporting herself on the road. Kelley shares what she enjoys most about the RVing lifestyle, including the amazing people she's met and the many friendships she has formed along the way. Whether she's attending rallies, visiting friends, or exploring national parks, Kelley is truly living life on her own terms. To have her tell her story, please welcome Workamper Kelley Sexton to the show. Thanks for joining me today, Kelley. How long have you been RVing?
Officially as a solo female RVer since 2019.
Okay.
But my grandparents got me into camping and trailering back in the 60s, and they were my inspiration. And so when I tell people, when they see my RV is in the background here, I tell people, it's not like our grandparents' RV, folks. This is way different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Were you one of those lucky kids back in the 1960s and 70s who got to ride in the upper part of the Class C motorhome and look out the window as you were going down the highway?
No, I was one of those kids that sat in the back of the Jeep pickup truck with the cab over, sitting in lawn chairs, looking out the back and looking at the trailer as we were pulling it over the hill.
As an adult, what prompted you to get into RVing?
Economy, to be very honest with you. I was working in the San Francisco Bay Area, and it's probably still this way, but a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment on the railroad tracks south of San Francisco, $4,250 a month, not including parking.
Isn't that incredible?
It's nuts.
It is. So you decided, I'm going to spend less money, hit the road, and really enjoy my experience.
Absolutely. And the caveat, or to kind of brought what into that, is I had a friend who was a traveling nurse, and she was in a Class A in a RV park in South San Francisco. And I said, wow, I didn't know that was possible. And so she and I actually both moved over to Half Moon Bay together and got a spot over there. And I was still working full time and commuting full time, but instead of $4,250 a month, it was $1,700 a month. And that made a whole lot more economic sense to me.
That does indeed. What were you doing at the time for work?
I was, and I still am, an executive assistant.
Okay.
I've just changed companies.
Okay. So you work remotely?
Yes.
All right.
Yep. I'm a virtual employee and have been since 2019. And I have no desire whatsoever to go back into the office at a cubicle.
Amen to that. What kinds of things do you do as an executive assistant, and how did you get that gig?
Mostly it's calendar management, pretty much the things that you would do in an office, but instead of having somebody walk by my desk, they're sending me a Teams invite or a note or text message. And so I support a vice president for an internet security company out of Seattle and a team of 20.
Okay. That's good. So you can work anywhere that you travel as long as you have the electricity and an internet connection.
Exactly. And I will say, thanks to Starlink, I can go any place I want to at any time, and doesn't make any difference.
I have yet to talk to somebody who has had a bad experience with Starlink.
It's a no-brainer. I don't want not to sell it, but there's no buffering. There's no downtime. I don't have to worry about throttling or am I using up all of my hotspot. I can't watch Netflix tonight. I stream music in the background sometimes when I'm working. I've got Sirius going in the background, and it's like it's the best money that I spend per month.
That is good. I know that sometimes people have problems making those connections, though, in wooded areas or in storms. Do you have any of those problems?
I have to be careful with wooded areas. I've been to the East Coast, and I'm the person that says, I don't need to be underneath the trees. You can put me out in the less desirable area. And I will say that I did hit a couple really big storms a couple years ago in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan on Lake Superior. And the rain did come down hard enough that I lost service. But I'd say probably less than on one hand that I have not been able to get service.
That's what others have told me as well. So what have you liked most about your RVing experience so far?
The people. Meeting all the different sorts of people. Found my tribe, friends on the road. Like I mentioned to you before we started the podcast, I'm going down the road as soon as we get done to go to another RV park in the area to meet up with someone that I met 2 years ago who moved from Southern California to Arizona. And this year, pretty much all of my travels are based on either rallies, meetups, or going to see friends that I have met in the 6 years that I've been on the road.
What are some of the places you're planning to visit this year?
This year, I'm doing Canada.
Ooh.
So I'm going from Arizona up through, I'm going to Utah for a rally/meetup, small group meetup in May. And then I'm going into Idaho to meet with some friends I met a couple years ago where we were all work camping together. And then going to Banff and Jasper, so the Alberta and British Columbia, and hitting a whole portion of the national parks and working my way back down to the Brinkley unofficial rally, which will be the second year that I've attended. And then I'm going to the Albuquerque Balloon Festival, which I've never been, but I will be right in the area due to the rally that's in Angel Fire, New Mexico. So I'm going to spend some time in Albuquerque, and then not sure what after that. I don't know what my work camping will be for next winter.
I have been hearing such great things about the Banff National Park up in Canada. And I was so excited to visit there a couple of years ago. And then I had to leave or drive from there to Seattle. And I was just looking forward to this beautiful experience. And it was pouring rain the whole time. So I didn't even get to see any of the mountains. It was just drove over them, but never got to see any of the views.
Hopefully you didn't run into any wildfires either. Because
Yes.
I've been up in those areas where you can't see anything because of the smoke, which has been horrible.
It's a good point. Have you had any challenges as a single RVer on the road?
Yes, I will say probably breakdowns. You've got to be super resourceful. When you talk about roadside assistance, I carry a minimum of 3 plans, sometimes between my truck plan and then my RV plans, because you find that they say they cover the whole country, but technically they may not have any service in that particular area. And I learned that the hard way. I sat on the side of the road for over 5 hours waiting, and I won't name names, but one of the companies didn't have anybody available. And when I finally got a hold of dispatch, they were like, we don't have anybody. There's nobody there. And so I learned. So now sometimes I call both of them at the same time, and it's whoever gets here first, you can take me.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a huge challenge.
That can be. Did you have to take any kind of technical training to learn how to maintain your own RV?
No,
Okay.
it's been on-the-job training, and I'm very grateful with the people that I've worked with. I've worked with lots of mobile techs, and I'll say, show me. But I'm the executive assistant, so on a lot of the stuff, it's like, no, I'm going to pay some. I'm not climbing up on my roof anymore. I did that back in the day, but no, someone else can go up there and check everything for me. Pack the bearings on the wheels. No, I'm not doing that.
I'm right there.
I'll make sure you're that I'll give you whatever hands you want. I'll hand you tools, but I'm not doing the job.
Absolutely. What kind of jobs have you worked as a work camper?
Huge diversity. I have done activities director. I've done assistant activities director. I've been an ice cream parlor manager of an ice cream shop at the pool. I have been a private chef for a duck club in the Sacramento Delta. I have been a caretaker for a school property up in Oregon. I have been a cook for a B&B in Montana. I've done housekeeping, which is my least favorite. Let's see, what else have I done? I've done camp hosting. And this past season, I was the team lead, which was a position that was created by the manager of the resort for me to manage 18 of her work campers. And so I managed the gatehouse and the camp host staff because she had a staff of about 50 work campers.
So you're doing this in addition to your remote work as the executive assistant for the CEO?
Yes, and I'm also doing Zoom producing work for a management company out of Colorado Springs when I'm bored.
When you're bored. What's your favorite work camping job? We know housekeeping isn't your favorite.
The private chef.
Ooh.
It was for a duck club. The duck club had 35 members. I cooked 5 meals a week, and it provided me with a free place to stay, free internet, free food, a salary of $1,500 a month, and use of the corporate truck. And I got my own credit card.
Oh, wow. You must like to cook.
I enjoy having a non-RV kitchen. So yes, it was a commercial kitchen, and we got to use it anytime that I was not cooking for the gentleman in the club at the club. That was a blast. And then I could invite friends over when they weren't there. So I had friends come visit me, and they were like, "You're not ever leaving this, are you?"
Did you have to learn how to fix duck 16 different ways?
To be very honest with you, they asked me if I'd ever cooked duck before, and I said no. But why don't you teach me and I'll watch you? And so they cooked the duck, I ate it.
Okay.
But I did everything else.
That's funny. Did you say that you also work self-employed doing some things on the side when you're bored?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What kind of jobs do you do?
That came out of COVID. And so it was a Zoom producer for a management company that is worldwide. And they used to do face-to-face trainings. And then when COVID hit, you couldn't do face-to-face. And so they had to learn how to do everything through Zoom or Teams or WebEx or some of the other services. And so I've actually been doing that for 4.5 years. And they will reach out to me and ask me, would you like to take care of this client? In fact, today I did an hour walkthrough right before this interview where I'm prepping for a meeting that's going on next week. And so I can say yes or no and fill it in anytime that I want to fill it in to make some extra money. And I kept it, to be very honest with you, because it pays for my camper. So when I went and purchased my new Brinkley, I got my payments to be what I make on a monthly basis from the side gig.
How do you find the customers to service on your side gig?
That particular one came from the online program called Upwork.
Okay.
Which a lot of the freelancers, it started out mostly for artists, and then it's evolved to now enterprise companies big companies are on there because it's a very easy way to find people. And it protects both the employer and the contractor because you're safe and the payments are all made by third party. And if there's something goes wrong, they will negotiate and mitigate the problems. And so I'm one of the top producers on Upwork. I'm in the top 10%. And so I offer that service to a lot of people that are work campers as well. When the season's over, it's like, what do I do? And I said, get on Upwork. And I know people that have done anything from what I do to I have friends who've done voiceovers and do Audible books and all kinds of just wild things that you can do anywhere, any place. You got to think outside the box.
A friend of mine in Wisconsin had lost her job as an editor of a magazine, and so she was starting to do jobs on Upwork or looking for it and started getting some in, and she was hoping that she would get enough that she would match her salary for the job that she had to leave. And within about 4 months, she called me and asked me to talk her off the cliff because she had more work that she had to do from Upwork. She was far exceeding the amount of money she was making as an employee. And so it's great to hear that you are having a similar experience with that.
Oh, incredible. A side job. And I've made over $50,000 in the last 4.5 years.
That's great. What type of RV did you settle on? You said a Brinkley?
Yes. So I started out stationary in a very large fifth wheel that I wasn't going to tow. And then I decided when I wanted to get on the road, I was going to get a towable. So I got a 32-foot towable, and I did that for about 3 years. But it was during the COVID time, so it was a COVID build, and things just kept falling apart. And so I started following Brinkley and what they were doing, and actually made a point of going to the Hershey show a couple of years ago. And I spent 5 days, Greg, and I walked the entire show, and I looked at everything and talked to everybody. And I kept coming back to Brinkley. And they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And I cannot say more, good things about them. Their customer service is phenomenal. I'm on a first name basis with their team. But anytime, you need something, or even in the Facebook groups, everybody is supporting everybody else. And I am 18 months into this particular unit, and I couldn't be happier.
Is it a fifth wheel or travel trailer?
This is the fifth wheel. Okay. And why I waited so long to get a fifth wheel, I don't know, because it's so much easier to tow. And I do it all myself. So it's so much easier to hook it up, to tow it, to set up. It's got auto leveling. I don't have to use blocks anymore. I can back up on my hitch straight on. It's just 1,000% easier. And so I laugh at myself. I was like, you just had to go baptism by fire first.
That's neat that you as a solo are using a fifth wheel. And it would scare me to back those things up and try to connect to the RV to a truck. So you learned to do it on your own. That's great. Did you have to take driving lessons to figure that out, or did you just trial and error?
No, actually, when I was at the Hershey show, I was talking to the manufacturers of the different hitches. And I said, I'm a single female, and this is my truck, and this is what I need to do. Tell me, give me information. And I did a whole lot of research before I decided to purchase. So when I went to the dealer and purchased the Brinkley, I said, this is the connection that I need. So I actually have a reverse gooseneck, because I don't have the rails in my truck. And so this actually sits up on top, and the ball is actually on my fifth wheel and drops into the puck on the back of my truck. And as I said, super easy. I can hook up in less than 10 minutes.
That's great. I think a lot of people will probably be looking into those kind of RVs. Where do you want to travel going forward? Are there any places on your bucket list?
My nickname is the Bucket List Conqueror. So last year, I completed all 50 states. Now, I didn't RV to all 50. People are like, wait a minute. I said, no, I'm not taking my RV to Hawaii. I've been to Hawaii 5 times. That counts. And I've been to Alaska twice, and I'm not, to the people that drive across Canada and do the Alaska highway, more power to you, but no. So I count those, but I had no intention, Greg, of doing all 50 states. It's just when I did my map, people would make fun of me because they were like, there's nothing in the middle of the country. And I'm like, tell me, and no offense to anybody who's listening to this, because I did do it and I have stories for all of it. But it was like, why do I want to go to Nebraska? Why do I want to go to Missouri or Kansas? In Nebraska, I found Carhenge, which is like Stonehenge, but it's made of cars. And in Missouri, I got to meet Stan. And for those of you that are football fans, Stan is the Clydesdale that you see on the Super Bowl commercials, and he's with the Black Labrador. And that's all Stan does. And I got my picture taken with Stan at the Warm Springs Ranch, which is the Clydesdale breeding ranch. And in Kansas, I went to the Oz Museum, which I didn't know existed.
There's something in every state, isn't there?
There absolutely is. So as I mentioned, I've done all 50 states. So now I'm like, okay, now what? There were quite a few places that I've been to over the years that I didn't spend enough time at because I just kept moving. And so I started making a list of places I want to go back to. And then I've always wanted to go to Banff and Jasper. And I was like, I've done the US, let's do Canada. And so I'm going to do 2 months in Canada this summer as I meander my way up and back down through the US.
A lot of people track their progress as they visit states by putting little symbols on a map. What qualifies, or do you have a standard for what consists of actually visiting a state? Is it driving through, or do you spend a night, or do you have to spend a week at the state to get that checked off?
Mine is driving through.
Okay.
So it's not spending a night. But I don't use the standard map either. I use the one that's photomaps.com, which was made by fellow RVers. And you actually upload your own personal pictures into the state. And so when you look at my map, I have all the pictures from all the different states. So when people come up to my map and they're like, wow, and I can say, yes, and that was Glacier National Park. And that was my 2 best friends who flew in to meet me. And there's Stan the horse from Missouri, when I have all the different things that are on the map. But yeah, I've had a lot of RVers in particular, argue with me. And it's my trip, it's my travels, it's my rule.
Exactly. But I'm going to have to check out Photo Maps. I'd never heard of that before, but what a great way to remember the trips that you've taken.
Exactly. And then it makes great stories because people will walk up to the side of my RV and go, what was that? And where was that? And I'll say, oh, that was in blah, 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 blah. And it just jogs my memory.
Before we started, you had mentioned that you had some advice for employers on how they could find work campers. What would that be?
The first thing is really be specific in your ads that you're putting in workamping.com. And that comes to mind because I just applied for one, I sent my resume off for one for next winter because I travel during the non-winter season. And I probably wouldn't have sent my resume off had she been more specific in her description. And I understand that there's limited words on size because I've also hired people for companies from Workamping and posted an ad. But make sure that if it's part-time or full-time, put the hours in the ad. It's super important. It's like, she had a lot of hours in this particular ad, and I wouldn't have sent my resume because with my other 2 jobs, I don't have that much time. But on the flip side, they offer some terrific perks. So she didn't put in the ad that they offer $10 towards laundry every week, and they give you a free tank of propane once a month that you stay. And it's a resort that's in Texas that's like 1,000 miles out of the way from where I normally end up, but that would have caught my attention. And another example is the resort that I just left. They do 50 work campers a season, and one of their main perks is free golf. So they have a 9-hole golf course, and you get to golf for free. It doesn't give you a cart, but there's no greens fees. You can go out on the driving range and anytime that you're there and have free time. So those are a couple of things. And then I would also say, not going away from your platform, but there are so many Facebook groups where I see people and I'm in just checking things out. And I see so many people looking for positions these days. And I'm like, I can't believe you look at some of their resumes and I'm like, I can't believe you're not getting snatched up. But I don't see a lot of employers combing through those places and looking for people because there's a lot. And I know this year is going to be probably a lot more people looking because of the way the economy is and what's happened with the national parks and the Forest Service and places closing. People that were used to having those positions may not have them anymore. Employers will have a better pick, but sell yourself. Put your perks in the ad and then have somebody send their resume and then you can have a conversation.
Those perks can add up. When you're looking at a free tank of propane every week, that can be a real decent boost to your salary.
Oh, absolutely. And it's the one I talked about being the private chef. Okay, it was nice that I got a salary, but the fact that I got a company truck and I got all my food paid for, that was, where do I sign up? And literally that came through Workamper. I actually was the first person to sign up because I'm a platinum member and I have been since I started. And so I get the hot listings to begin with and I read them all. And I've gotten quite a few of my jobs by just making sure that I'm Johnny on the spot. And if I don't, it's this person I just replied back to. It was like, the information you put in the email back to me would have been super helpful in your ad, but I didn't say that.
It is it is so important to respond back right away because people are looking quickly for jobs. And if an employer reaches out to a work camper and they don't respond back for days or weeks, they'll think there's no interest and they'll move on to somebody else. Same thing is true when people are applying to a employer. If they're not responding back, it's like that signals this isn't a very responsive company and I'll move on and look for something else. So good for you to bring that up.
I was saying the last thing is if you are an employer, incentivize your work campers because we know people and we know people all over the country just by naturally running into each other because we don't all go back to the same place. And it could be a simple perk. It doesn't have to be anything big. It could be I was going to say $5, but these days that's probably not. A $10 Starbucks gift card so that we can get a cup of coffee. But just saying thank you. And do you know anybody that would like to come work?
That's why it's important for the employers to maintain contact with people even after they've left and moved on to something else, because RVers are always connecting with other people. So you might have had a job up in Maine and now you're in Florida and you're meeting a work camper who wants to work in Maine but doesn't know where. You can make that connection for them.
Exactly.
If they knew what the needs were of that employer. If you had to start your RVing experience over again, is there anything you'd do differently?
Start with a fifth wheel.
For the reasons you had mentioned before?
Yes, exactly. I want to spend more time enjoying the journey, not being stuck. And I would say that also is super important. So many people, it's got to get to the destination. And I'm like, I have learned over the years, everything that you do is learning and fun and part of the journey. And don't just drive past that. I can't tell you how many times I've driven by Four Corners and I've never stopped. And I'm like, why don't you stop?
That's right. Especially if you're going to be in an area only once. You might as well
exactly.
do everything you can in that area.
I absolutely agree with you, Greg. And so people are like, and why did you do that? And I'm like, because I'm not coming back. This is it. I'm going to try it. So I found out that salmon in the Great Lakes is not Seattle salmon. It's whitefish. I didn't know that. But when you go have salmon, fish, and chips, it's whitefish.
That is neat. Is there any advice you would give to people who are thinking about becoming work campers or jumping into the RV lifestyle, but they aren't quite sure it might be for them?
Don't wait. Just jump in. We don't know what's going to happen on the next day. Unfortunately, one of the work campers this season in the resort I was working at died of a heart attack. He was there one day. I was saying hi to him, and the next day he was gone. And that's why I jumped in when I did. It was like, I'm not getting any younger. And if you don't like it, stop. There's nothing that says you can't go back, and there's nothing that says it has to be permanent. I'm full-time, and I'm not ready to stop at this point, but I know a lot of people who have, a lot of people that go part-time, and follow some of the influencers and read between the lines, because there's a reason they're influencers, but they have some wonderful information. In fact, that's one of the meetups I'm going to, is I'm having an opportunity to meet some folks that I just started following, and it's going to actually be in the area where I'm going to be. So I'm like, I'm going to go meet you.
Do you want to pitch that? What group that is?
It's RV Miles. So it's Jason and Abby, and they are doing a small gathering in Utah. And I love Jason's information in terms of keeping up with industry news. And I really appreciate him staying on top of those sorts of things. And so I was going to be in the area. So I said, you know what? I'm going to meet them. 2 years ago, I met Mark and Julie Bennett, and they were the ones who actually got me really on the road with their books of RV love. And they were at Quartzsite. And so I met them at the Quartzsite show and spent probably an hour with them, just talking to them about their adventures and what they've done and all the different rigs that they've been in. And they will tell you it's been up and down and over, but that's life.
How can people connect with you if they would like to establish a relationship with you, ask you a question, or just follow you on your journeys?
I have a personal email address that I use for RVing, and that's Kelley, Kelley, at kelleysexton.com.
Okay. Are you active on social media?
I am. I use Kelley Hunter Sexton for Facebook, and I post mostly on Facebook, but I have the connection to Instagram. It's just 3 jobs, and I have a new 4-legged friend this winter that I adopted. So now I travel with my cat and my dog, trying to keep up with all the social media stuff. And I manage group. I manage RV parking spots on Facebook as well. Yeah.
You're active. My goodness. Thank you very much for sharing your story with me today, Kelley. I appreciate it. Sounds like you've had an active RVing and work camping experience. You're an inspiration to others who would like to get into this lifestyle.
Thank you. And I really enjoyed talking to you. And it's just, you folks were the ones that really helped me get started. So I appreciate that as well.
We appreciate the plug. Kelley Sexton has crafted a purposeful and a sustainable lifestyle by combining remote work, side gigs, and a variety of work camping jobs. From private chef to team lead, her experiences have taken her across the country and connected her with a vibrant community of fellow travelers. As a full-time RVer since 2019, Kelley relies on strong internet connectivity, and she secures that through Starlink. She also travels in a Brinkley fifth wheel, which she carefully researched before purchasing. Her travels often center around visiting friends, attending rallies, and exploring national parks throughout the United States and Canada. Kelley also offers valuable advice to campgrounds looking to recruit work campers. She recommends being specific in job listings, especially when it comes to hours and duties. She encourages employers to highlight unique perks that can make a position stand out, and Kelley also suggests expanding recruiting efforts to social media groups and following up quickly with applicants to avoid missed opportunities. To find talented work campers, Kelley believes employers should stay in touch with former staff and offer small incentives for referrals. Word of mouth remains a powerful tool in the work camping community. To connect with Kelley or to follow her travels, reach out via email to Kelley at kelleysexton.com or find her on Facebook under Kelley Hunter Sexton. Today's episode is sponsored by Workamper News. Much more than just a job listing website, when you put the tools of this professional service into action, you find out just how easy it can be to turn your work camping dreams into reality. A Workamper membership opens the door to a one-stop shop for all things work camping. Being the original resource for work camping, you'll find the largest number of job listings, be able to connect with a community of work campers, and view resources compiled by experts who've been enjoying the RV lifestyle for many years. If you're serious about leading a successful and enjoyable work camping lifestyle, then membership is for you. Join today at www.workamper.com. Embark on new adventures today with the support of Workamper News behind you. That's all for this week's show. Next time, we'll be speaking with an employer who describes work camping opportunities at their hospitality-oriented business. I'll have more details on the next episode of The Workamper Show. Thanks for listening, and if you like this show, please consider leaving a review wherever you download the episodes.